Hello, welcome back to Movie Shorted. On this channel, we summarize your favorite movies into a short video. If you have any movie recommendations, make sure to leave it in the comments. Today we will be watching the 1999 high school comedy titled American Pie. Warning, spoilers ahead. The movie opens up with an awkward teenager named Jim watching some adult movies, if you know what I mean. His mom walks in on him and hears noises coming from the TV and asks him if there is something wrong with the connection. She gets ready to leave, but hears moaning and realizes what Jim is actually watching. He quickly tries to turn it off, but the remote isn't working. Suddenly his dad walks in and the mom tells him that she thinks Jim is watching some inappropriate content. His dad denies it and says it's just noises from the Nature Channel until he hears the TV say "Spank my hairy ass." The dad grabs the remote and tries to turn it off but accidentally removes the pillow to reveal a sock on his junk. We next see Jim at school walking with one of his close friends named Oz. We then see Kevin, another one of Jim's close friends, with his girlfriend named Vicky. She opens a letter from a college and finds out she's been accepted. Vicky is talking to one of her best friends named Jessica about whether or not she thinks her and Kevin will finally have sex tomorrow night because it's prom. We are then introduced to Finch, one of their close friends. They all start chatting but are interrupted by one of their friends named Stifler. Stifler asks them if they are all going to his party tonight and Oz says it's up to his date. Oz tells them that he's currently talking to this hot college girl when Stifler starts making fun of him, saying that there's no way he will score with her because he sucks at talking to girls. Stifler leaves and tells the group that he will see them tonight in the no fucking section. It cuts to the group of four in a diner talking about what's going to happen tonight. They all tell each other their plans with girls. Jim tells them that he's going to make a move on this European girl named Nadia who he has a crush on. Jim asks Oz what third base feels like. Oz tells him it feels like warm apple pie. We then see everybody hanging out at Stifler's party. We then meet Sherman. Jim and Kevin asks him what his plans with a girl are tonight and he says that he's working on something with this brunette girl. They both laugh at him because they think he's bluffing. We see Jim checking out Nadia and Kevin tells him to approach her but he's nervous. He finally approaches her but stands there all awkwardly because he has no idea what to say. The girls all look at him weirdly, so he leaves feeling all nervous. It then cuts to Oz in a car with the college girl he's talking to. He starts asking her cheesy questions such as "What is your major?" and "Do you like this view?" trying to conversate with her. He then says to her, "Suck me beautiful," and she can't help but to start laughing at him. She tells him he can't just take a girl to a romantic place and start asking her questions so he can hook up with her. She then tells him she will take him back to the party. Oz tells Stifler about his interaction with the college girl and Stifler can't stop laughing at what he said. Kevin and Vicky are hooking up in a room. After they are done, Kevin finishes in a cup of beer. Stifler walks in with a girl and kicks them out because he's trying to use the room. After they hook up, Stifler drinks the cup of beer and then tastes something weird. He then realizes what he just drank. He pukes all over the girl and she comes running out the room screaming and crying. We see Jim and Kevin along with two other guys looking at a picture of Stifler's mom talking about how hot she is. One of them says she's a MILF, and when the guys questions what that means, he explains it's a mother he'd like to fuck. Sherman calls over Jim and Kevin to show them the girl that's in his room. They are baffled and questions how he did it. Kevin is seen walking with Jim when he says, "Enough of this blowjob shit, I'm trying to get laid." Vicky hears him say this and leaves out of frustration. He tries to apologize but she doesn't want to hear it. They all wake up the next morning and see Sherman walking out with his girl. Sherman tells them that he's now a man and they all get frustrated because Sherman scored with a girl before all of them. After talking for a while, they all try to make a pact to lose their virginities before college. They all agree and say tonight is the perfect chance because it's prom. Kevin is talking to Jessica when Stifler interrupts saying, "You need to see this." We see Oz singing with the choir. The group questions what is he doing here when Oz tells him this place is an untapped market. He tells them he's trying to score with one of these choir girls. They all start laughing at the fact that he's trying to get with a goody choir girl. Kevin calls up his older brother and asks him if he knows any tricks on pleasuring a girl. He reveals that there's this book from Continuing Generations that shows different techniques and positions. After choir class, Oz starts talking to one of the girls named Heather. Instead of asking her boring questions like his last attempt with a girl, he starts to ask Heather more personal questions about herself and she seems to enjoy it. Jim gets home and sees an apple pie that his mother baked for him. After remembering what Oz says earlier, Jim starts to play with the pie. Suddenly Jim's dad walks in on him and sees a naked Jim on top of the pie. We see Heather watching one of Oz's lacrosse games. After they start talking, she asks him if he'd be interested in going to prom with her. He accepts. She leaves, but then sees Stifler making spanking motions with his hands screaming her name. She looks disgusted. The group of three are seen leaving one of their classes when Nadia stops Jim and asks him for help in history class. They talk about world history and Nadia asks him if she can come over to his house after school to study. Jim agrees. The whole group is at the library asking Jim about his study date with Nadia when Stifler tells him that he should set up a camera in his room to record it live so everybody can watch it. After refusing, they all pressure him into doing it and he finally agrees. After Jim sets up the live camera, Nadia walks in. Nadia asks Jim if it's okay if she uses his room to change and he says it's fine. He tells her he will wait for her downstairs but instead runs to Kevin's house to watch her change live on the webcam. She starts to undress while Jim, Kevin, and Finch watch her live. Stifler is also watching with his younger brother. Nadia starts looking through Jim's drawers and finds his girl magazines. She then starts to touch herself while looking at one of the magazines. Kevin tells Jim if there was one time to do something with this girl, now is his chance. He doesn't want to go, but Kevin and Finch force him. He runs all the way back home and before going in he prays to God that something good will happen. Kevin then gets a call from Sherman telling him that Jim accidentally sent the live stream link to the whole school. We then see random students at their school watching the live stream. He walks in and sees Nadia touching herself on his bed. Having no idea what to say in this situation, he asks her if she needs an extra hand. Nadia gets mad at Jim for walking in on her and says, "Shame on you." Jim offers to leave, but Nadia asks if she can see him naked because he saw her. She tells him to strip, so he starts taking off his clothes while dancing to the music she put on. Nadia seems to enjoy his stripping. We see random people laughing while watching the live stream because of the situation. She has him get on the bed and tries to make him touch her down there, but something happens to Jim. He finished in his pants already. Everybody watching the live is disappointed. She gets up to leave, but he convinces her to stay. She gets on top of him and starts kissing him. Everybody watching the live gets hyped. He starts to touch her but ends up finishing again. Cut to the next day, we see Jim walking through school and everybody laughing at him. He has no idea why because he didn't know about his misplaced email. We see Heather find Oz practicing singing by himself in the choir room. This makes her happy. Jim is seen talking to this girl in his class named Michelle. He looks uninterested in the conversation but asks Michelle if she knows what happened to him yesterday. She says no, so he asks her to be his prom date. She agrees. We see Oz at his job when Heather comes. She asks him if he would be interested in doing a duet with her for the school on Saturday and he agrees. They start talking more and seems that Heather forgives him for what he did earlier after the lacrosse game. We see Stifler telling Oz about their last game of lacrosse being this Saturday. Oz then tells Heather that he can't do the duet because he forgot that he had a lacrosse game on Saturday. After finding out that Finch made up a rumor that he beat up Stifler to impress girls at his school, Stifler decides to put laxatives in his drink. We then see Finch running through the halls to the bathroom while holding his pants. Stifler shows him to the bathroom, but instead of it being the men's, he had him go in the woman's. Finch finally gets to the toilet but then hears girls' voices in the bathroom with him. He starts to loudly fart and the girls think that it's each other. He then starts screaming about how good this feels and the girls run out feeling disgusted. Finch walks out the bathroom to see a whole crowd of students laughing at him. We see Oz at his last lacrosse game. Something flips in Oz's head and he realizes what he's missing. He tells his coach there's somewhere more important he has to be and runs to the music hall. Heather asks Oz why he's missing his game and he tells her it's because of her. They then share their first kiss. They are then seen performing the duet together in front of the whole school. Prom is getting close and we see everybody getting suits and dresses. It is now the night of prom and everybody is seen in their couples. Vicky is asking Sherman's girl about the night they had at Stifler's. She tells Vicky that they had one of those nights where they stay up and talk all night. Vicky asks her if that's how she describes having sex when she starts to deny them even having it. The girl goes on the stage and lets everybody know that she has a confession to make. She tells everyone that Sherman is a liar and that they never had sex. She also states that when he gets nervous he wets his pants. After their school prom they all arrive at Stifler's house for the party. Kevin and Vicky find an unused room and say it's perfect to do it. We see Oz walking with Heather and he tells her that he really cares about her. They share another kiss. We see Finch walking into one of Stifler's rooms that says keep out. He walks around the room and then sees Stifler's mom enjoying some whiskey. She asks him where his date is and he claims that he doesn't have one because of a bathroom incident. They start chatting and Finch asks her if she has anything to drink. She says the keg is upstairs but he wants something better. She offers him some scotch. Jim and Michelle are telling each other stories from their past, Michelle keeps telling him stories from her at band camp. All of them are uninteresting to Jim. We then see Kevin and Vicky sharing a bed talking about they want to do it. He tells her missionary position and she agrees. We then see Oz and Heather making love on the dock. It cuts back to Jim and Michelle. Michelle tells Jim about the one time she stuck a flute up herself when Jim spits out his water, being baffled at what she just said. She asks him if they are going to screw soon and Jim leads her to Stifler's younger brother's room. Michelle tells Jim to try and not finish so early this time and Jim questions what she means by that. She reveals that she watched the live stream and was turned on by it. We then see Finch drinking with Stifler's mom. He tells her that he thinks she's rather striking and she questions if he's trying to seduce her. He says, "Yes, I am, ma'am." They both look at the pool table and then Stifler's mom grabs him. The next morning rolls around and we see everybody in their couples. Vicky tells Kevin it's not going to work with them because of her going to university in New York. Jim wakes up to find that Michelle left. Stifler goes into the pool room and sees his mother with Finch. The last scene is them in the diner talking about how great of a night they all had. They cheers to a perfect high school experience. If you enjoyed watching this movie recap, subscribe to see more just like this being posted in the future. What was your favorite part of the movie? Thanks for watching.